The fans rise here in Sunrise, Florida.
Back to back for the Cats.
15 seconds. Gustav Forsling holds. The Panthers begin to celebrate. Panther perfection. The Florida Panthers win their second consecutive Stanley Cup.
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Just be your boy
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous, and I'm back. That's all I gotta say. If y'all been following me on TikTok, I've been doing videos. I'm gonna do more videos as the time go by. You know, I'm trying to slowly integrate my audio with video. You know, like I said, I need a team. Soon I'm going to start recruiting, young interns to start, just start with the production. Like I need pretty much need a production company. But that take time, that takes money and whatnot. So for that being said, your boy is back. And with the intro, y'all heard, for a couple minutes or so, well, a second, I guess. No, not a second, about 30 seconds or so. Florida Panthers went back to back. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. Shout out to the whole organization. Let me tell y'all something. I remember when I was in high school, going to college, and I was saying that, don't be surprised when, we start winning. We become a winning town, a championship city. And people laughed at me because, at the time, the Marlins wasn't really doing nothing. The Dolphins still haven't won a championship in a while, haven't won a playoff game in a while. The Heat, high school, college, it was before they went back to back. And then the Hurricanes are still the Hurricanes, but they, everybody know their situation back in the day with the whole sanctions and everything, with all that mess, but all that's being cleaned up, or already been cleaned up. And then, of course, the Florida Panthers, they was a joke around that time. Like, I remember when, rest in peace to my grandma, I remember my grandma used to call me all the time. My grandma, both my grandparents, but really my grandma, because she'll call me, because my granddaddy, he already knew what channel and stuff and whatnot was on. But my grandma would call me literally every night. She'd be like, Johnny boy, what game the Marlins playing? What time they playing? What channel is on? The Panthers, you know what I'm saying? Dolphins was easy because they was every Sunday, unless they play like a Monday game or a Thursday game. And I tell her, like, hey, Grandma, they playing on Monday at such and such, or they playing on a Saturday at 1 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come and watch it with you. You know what I'm saying? Or even with the Hurricanes. But, for me, watching the Panthers win last year and watching them win this year and going back to back, true South Floridian fans, true like fans of the hockey team, like what they went through, the ups and downs and the downs and the downs. It was at one point, I believe they was trying to relocate the Panthers out of the state because around that time, Tampa had like two or three spurts where they was very dominant. I know in the mid to late 2000s, I think they had went back to back, and then through COVID, they almost three-peated. But everybody know about the whole COVID situation and stuff. And if you know about NHL and their cap salaries, like to me, is one of the worst cap sports, in all the sports. And we'll talk about more of that a little bit later in the episode. But for them to win it back to back, for them to go through all the hell they went through, like, think about it. Like, if y'all know true Panthers fan, y'all remember when they was in Office Depot, when they moved from the Miami Arena, when they relocated up to Sunrise. Like, people know, like, that's how, like, everybody know that was the Panthers, and they was garbage. They was terrible. Then they drafted Barkov, a young Barkov. I believe he got drafted in 2014 or 2015, if I'm not mistaken. But I remember when we drafted him, and I'm like, this dude good. And I still watch the games. Not every game, but every time I had a chance, especially when it was in football season, I watched the games. Because for me, I support all my South Florida teams regardless. And I'm like, man, like this team could be legit in a few years. But I didn't know they was going to be like this. Like, I didn't know they was going to be going to the Stanley Cup 3 times, 3 straight years, winning the Eastern Championship 3 straight times, winning 2 out of the 3 and possibility going 3 straight because everybody pretty much came back, like the main core. But it's just crazy how you just look back at their history and just look back at how they, people was like, hockey don't belong in Florida, but not let alone South Florida. But people don't know the history. Well, Miami Hurricanes just got their hockey team back, I think like 2 or 3 years ago, and they actually won a national championship. But people don't realize that back in the day, like even before I was born, high schools had hockey teams. I think still this day, certain schools still had their hockey teams, but back in the day, like it was schools, high schools that had hockey teams. It was very big down here, and for people to say that, it's just crazy. Like now, people could shut the F up, about that. Tampa did their thing. They had their run. It's our turn. Probably after 2030 because of, the whole contract situations and stuff and the cap salary, we may give it back to Tampa for another 2 or 3 years, then we're going to get it right back. But anywho, shout out to my Florida Panthers. And shout out to the man, dog. Shout out to Big Bill, dog. Shout out to, man, listen. He probably the best GM, of course, in all of hockey, but he might end up being the best GM overall in South Florida. I'm gonna tell you why. Just by looking how everything was constructed, like you draft the players, you get the players, you make these trades. So pretty much you draft players, you develop them, and you draft them, but you draft them for bigger fish, for bigger stars. And not just even bigger stars, but even like great role players. That's something that, we wish as Marlin fans, we wish that they, I think they're going to follow that because they got a new GM as well. But it's just like the way he did everything. Like let me try to break it down. Jesus. Let me see what he did. And y'all gotta bear with me because I'm just looking it up. I am looking everything up. Bill Zito. See accusations or moves. Let me see, because this crazy. All right, so let's see, because I got to see how how it was built. Like they just talking about recently. See how was Florida Panthers built? My bad, y'all. The Florida Panthers built, because that's amazing. It's amazing. So, all right. So this is how it go. Thank God for AI. So. Trades. He made several key trades, including acquiring players like Sam Bennett, Brandon Montour, and Chucky. He also made notable trades for Brad, but that was like later on for the rap. Free agents, he signed Ivan Rodriguez, Nico McCullough, Oliver Ekman, which was big pieces, because that's what I'm saying. Like, those are good to great role players to have. Like, everybody cannot be a superstar. Not everybody could be a star. Not everybody could be an all-star. But you most likely, it's a higher percentage of you being to a good to great role player, right? So then he drafted, of course, Liddell and Vahigi. You know, those are young boys. That's our jits. You know, that's what we say in Florida. Then he hired Paul Maurice, because the coach we had before, he had some type of issues. I think it was like dealing with like sexual assault or something like that. But it's like, to look back at it, because we like that coach too. You know, he was old school, but like that was probably like a blessing in disguise. Like, because Paul Maurice, he been in the NHL since like the 90s. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because he looks so young. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought he was like 40 something, whatever. But I think he's damn near almost 60, I believe. But he's been in the league he's been a coach for over 20, 25 years. And for him to finally win his championship last year and this year to go back to back and possibly going 3 straight is crazy. But I like his coaching, because he's at first, you remember when back in 2019, 2020, especially 2020, because that was when we had we was like that was that year when we had the best record. We got swept by. No, 2020 is when we lost to New York. That's when we was getting like we was good. We just got in. I think it was a wild card. And then we got beat by, I think it was the Islanders. The following year, we was like the best team, in the Atlantic, and we pretty much got our ass whooped by Tampa. In the first round, we got swept. So then, you gotta remember, Panthers at one point was very offense. Like, I remember them boys would score like almost 8 points, almost not every game, but like every other game. Like, God damn, they beat these boys 8-5, like 8-1, or like 7-4 or something like that. But the difference between them teams, 3-4 years ago, was that we had no defense. It was terrible. Like, look how Edmonton was and how Toronto was. Like, them teams could score, but they don't have no lick of defense. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, our defense was terrible. Like, we would score, the next minute somebody would score. You know what I'm saying? From the opposition. So what Paul Maurice brought, he was like, you know what? We gonna balance it out. We still gonna play our offense, but we gonna slow it down a little bit. It's like it kind of remind me of the San Antonio Spurs. Like, the Spurs half court offense and half court defense is probably like one of the best, or probably the best, like, I ever seen in my life. Like, because what they do is you follow their pace. You know what I'm saying? Spurs wasn't always a slow team or whatnot. It depends on who they played. So, like, if they was, for example, they was playing like the Golden State Warriors, especially, when Mark Jackson and them was playing, they was very high pace. Spurs would slow your ass down. They would slow them down and play their pace. But if they playing somebody like the Memphis Grizzlies, who was one of the slowest teams at the time, but they half court was very good, Spurs would, bring in their young legs, and they'll like just, they'll run like they damn near Oregon, up and down the court. But they half court offense and defense was just so lethal, because you had Timmy in the post. You had Tony Parker as the general, but he could score at anywhere, whether it was the three, whether it was the mid-range. The midi was just dangerous. You had Ginobili. He could slash. He could do a Euro step in there. He could score from the mid. He could score from the three. You know what I'm saying? Then you had you know, they always had great role players, you know what I'm saying? Like if Steven Jackson could be in the corner, shoot a three, or fake a three, pass out to Tim, and Tim passes back to him, and he passes it to Tony, and Tony hit a midi, or Tony would fake it, pass it to Ginobili. Ginobili would slash. He would do what's the name? He would slash through the offense. Through the defense and score. Like it was. This is what this team remind me of. Like it's like they wanna they force you to play like them, but you can't play like them. Like it's ridiculous what Paul Maurice brought. And then, you know, of course, we acquired Chucky the following year. We went to the Stanley Cup, got our ass whooped by Vegas because we were still offensively, but also we had injuries as well. But then the next year, we beat Edmonton. But the way we did it was just it was crazy. Like, the way we just got through, you know, Boston, when we got through Tampa, how we got through Carolina, like it was amazing. Like it was like you know it was like we never seen that before. Like, you know, like I seen the Miami Heat, and the Miami Heat, the 2012, 2013 Heat, to me is up there because the way they dominated on defense, but they still was like a top 10, top 5 offense. It was ridiculous. Like that's how the Panthers remind me of. Like they was like if you play football, if you play Madden, you know, they're like a multiple D, you know, defense or multiple offense. They had like multiple schemes. It's like they could spread you out, but then they could go in the I formation. They could play the belt defense, but then they'll play quarters. You know, they'll play man. You know, they'll play zone. They'll play man, zone, blitz. They'll play goddamn man, but, you know, you got the DNs, they doing stunts. That's how it was just watching the Florida Panthers. Like, it was beautiful. You know what I'm saying? And Bill Zito, you know, he's the brains behind the operations, and like for him to build a team like this, especially, people gotta understand, like Florida in general is a weird state because we are in the South, not just because geographically, but this is still the South. Like if we didn't have Disney World, if we didn't have South Beach, if we didn't have, you know, our sports teams, shit, we ain't had no beaches, Florida would just be like Alabama, you know, or Mississippi with swamps. You know what I'm saying? We still have that, but thank God we got big cities, you know, in between. You know, you got Miami, you got Orlando, Tampa, Jacksonville, Jacksonville's the biggest, you know, city in the state. Then you got the Tallahassees, you got the Fort Lauderdales, you got the Palm Beaches, you got the Naples, and then in between that, you got the cities within cities, towns within towns. You got the back roads, you know what I'm saying? You got like the Lakelands and the Sarasotas and the Martin counties and all that, the Cape Coral, you know, all that in between, you know. But the weird thing about South Florida is that when it comes to our cities and towns are so broken down, people don't realize that realistically, technically, like Miami, for example, is considered a mid-major to a small market. It may not be a small market, but it's like in between a big market, a small market. I'm talking about like the actual city of Miami. But when you include the whole Dade County, which is about 2 million, then you add Broward and West Palm Beach and the Keys, you know, we like top 4 or top 5 for metropolitan. So when you add all them counties up, we're a big market, but without them, like, if you don't count us together, we pretty much are like damn near small markets, believe it or not, just because of how we are broken down here. Like, it's hard to explain. I think I explained it in one episode. I can kind of explain it again. Maybe it was on TikTok. No, I don't think it was on TikTok, but maybe I never broke the whole South Florida down. But I'll do that on the episode. Probably do that on the next episode, just to re-educate everyone, because one of my points that's coming up is that first of all, shout out to the Panthers. Bills, he's the GOAT. GM so far right now in South Florida, he's the GOAT completely right now in the NHL for modern day. And we gonna three-peat again. We sign our boys back, and we gonna talk about more of y'all when we get closer to the season. But congratulations to y'all boys. But another thing I want to talk about today is these goddamn snowbirds. Lord Jesus. So, growing up in South Florida in particular, it's a melting pot. You got people from everywhere. If y'all hear my voice, I sound like the typical Southern, African American that has a Caribbean background. So I'm like, my people from Georgia, but I also got folks from the Bahamas. So it's very blended. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm a native as that. Like, I was actually born and raised, so I wasn't, not from I wasn't born in the Bahamas, or I wasn't born in another state like New York or Canada, like another country like Canada. Like, I wasn't born in another state or country. Like, I was born and raised here. So when I tell people that, we have different people down here, we have different dialects, but when it comes to sports, we do come together. You know what I'm saying? And one of the things I have with the snowbirds, and shout out to the snowbirds, shout out to New York, shout out to Connecticut, shout out to just the whole East Coast, Canada. Even though West Coast, we consider y'all snowbirds too. Y'all really not really no damn snowbirds. We got pretty much the same, environment. But that's what down here in the South, especially in Florida, that's what we call people that's out. Like, I work at the casino, so like, we consider everybody snowbirds, which is, to me, is kind of disrespectful when you call us someone from Texas or Alabama, Virginia, Kentucky, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, Missouri, the Carolinas, you know what I'm saying? Like, West Virginia. It's kind of weird when you call them snowbirds, because it's like, yeah, it's colder up there, but y'all still the South. Y'all still, y'all Southern. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, that's just a term that we have down here in Florida, but it's really directed to the people from up north, like Minnesota, Ohio, them northern states, and then like the East Coast states like New York and all that stuff like that. But one of the things I don't like when you have tourists or people that's been here for less than 10 years, when they say, we're not a sports town. First of all, you got to get in the culture down here. First of all, Miami itself, I'm just going to add the whole South Florida. I'm from Miami, but I'm going to add the whole South Florida. I'm going to add Dade, Broward, West Palm Beach, Martin County. I'm at Port St. Lucie County. I'm going to add Key West. I'm going to add, even Southwest with Naples and all that, Collier County and all that. I'm going to add all y'all. The number one thing that we very big on down here is youth sports, especially football. Football, basketball always been here, but it's grown to like a faster pace now. It's getting more known now. And of course, soccer, baseball, of course. Now, you got kids with gymnastics, tennis always been big down here. And golf. So we are very well known for being, into sports. People gotta understand, like, especially the ones that's been here for less than 5 to 10, because it's snowbirds that's been here for pretty much half their life, and they understand the culture. They know, they're like, hey, South Florida is a sports town. You just gotta win, and that's in every city. I don't care what nobody say. Like, I remember watching old highlights and old games of when the Yankees had Derek Jeter It was like 99, and the Yankees was sorry. That's in New York. Nobody wasn't there. That's the Yankees. That's like the best team in the whole major league. And they had a few bad seasons. Nobody didn't come to their game. And there's way more people in New York than it is down here in South Florida. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I hate when people say, "Oh, y'all come down here, y'all don't, it be barely people here." First of all, that's everywhere, especially now when you have social media, when you have streaming services, when the climate is changing, it's getting hotter than years ago. It's getting colder in certain areas than, what it was decades ago. So people are kind of getting spoiled with streaming. People are getting spoiled with, hey, I ain't got to go to the actual game, because I'm guilty of that. You know what I'm saying? If it was up to me, I go to every game. But I don't do it because another point, South Florida spread the fuck out. I'm sorry for my French, but South Florida is spread out. Like, I'm in Kendall now. I'm in down south. I'm in South Day. I'm in, South Miami. You know what I'm saying? For me to go, let's just put this for example, because I want to go to the game. I want to go to a few games, Panthers games, because I haven't been there in years. I think the last Panthers games I've been to was with my best friend. I think that was back in 2018, 2019. I know it was before COVID. But even when I used to live in North Dade, from North Dade to Sunrise was about 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes. I want to say 45 minutes. Now that I live down south, I live further south, it's about hour and a half, because if it's an hour from here to Hollywood, it's probably an hour and like 20 minutes, 30 minutes from here. You know what I'm saying? Without traffic, it's probably like maybe an hour or so. But with traffic, especially during the week, it might be almost down there 2 hours. But that's one thing, it's spread out. Like, when you have these tourists that just come to Miami, come to Fort Lauderdale, come to Palm Beach, what they do is they stay in, near the tourist spots. They stay in the city of Miami. They stay in the city of Fort Lauderdale. They stay in the city of West Palm Beach. They stay in they stay in the city of Key West, but they don't know in Key West, you got Coral Shores, you got I forgot the name of the damn islands, the cities in in that county, but you have different cities, different towns. In Miami, man, you got Homestead, you got Kendall, you got Coral Gables, you got South Miami, you got the city of Miami. Besides the city of Miami, you got Hialeah, Opelika. You know what I'm saying? You got Aventura, you got Golden Glades, you got Sunny Isles. You know what I'm saying? You go to the Broward. Besides Fort Lauderdale, you got Miramar, you got Pembroke Pines, you got Weston, you got Lord have mercy, how I'm getting Coral Springs, you got Hollywood, you got oh Lord, I'm just trying to just come up with these cities. Lauderhill, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you go to West Palm Beach, you got besides the city of West Palm Beach, you got Green Acres, you got Boca Raton, you got North Palm Beach, which is like very country. You got Jupiter, you got Belle Glade, you got Pahokee, you got all these cities and towns within towns, small cities within small cities. We are very spread out. So, for example, we have a lot of, if you do your research, West Palm Beach is where they do, when they have all the spring games at. And it's a lot of Red Sox and Yankees fans, but it's a lot of Marlins fans up there, especially in West Palm Beach. One of the reasons why the Marlins don't really have as much fans as they want to is because, number one, we trade, every time we get great players, we trade them. Our ownership is cheap. The location they was at one point was at the Hardware. At the time, it was Pro Player, it was Dolphin Stadium, it was Sound Life, whatever you want to call it. They played where the Dolphins is playing currently at Hard Rock. It was supposed to be a project where they built a stadium next to the football stadium, and then it was supposed to be like a retractable roof in between the two stadiums, kind of similar to like Seattle. I think it's the Seattle and the soccer team. I think it's the football team and the soccer team, something like that. Anyway, no, the Mariners and the Seahawks, kind of similar in a way. But that didn't go through. But the reason why that was bad, because it's a lot of Marlins fans from Palm Beach, from Broward. So where they was at, it was kind of centered within South Florida. Like you had, Broward was down the street. Broward was literally like 5 minutes away from the stadium, county line. And then you had your Palm Beach fan base. And back in the day when I did my research, I don't know about now, but there was one of the highest percentage of people who had, season tickets. And even if you look in the articles when you do your research, you even said like not a whole bunch, but like a high percentage of fans came from West Palm Beach, because either some people just moved up from Miami to Palm Beach, or it's just natives of Palm Beach that really follow the Marlins, because, at the end of the day, we are South Florida. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter where you at, they going to support. When these snowbirds say that, I'm like, y'all have to really travel the whole South Florida. Like, if you in Broward, travel the whole Broward. Broward is long east and west. East and west, like from Fort Lauderdale to Weston, it's probably going to take you about 30, 45 minutes going east to west. Even north to south in a way, because you can go from Miramar to probably like Pompano, Delphos, it's probably going to take about 30 minutes, but east and west for Broward is like, it's long. For Dade, it's north and south, so from Aventura to Florida City, it's going to take you an hour. You know what I'm saying? Depending on what day it is. It may take you, it's going to take you an hour regardless, with or without traffic. With traffic, it's probably going to take you longer. But these snowbirds, what they do is, especially this generation of snowbirds, I've been here for 5 years, I've been here for 10 years. You ain't been to the whole city, the whole county, because you got to understand, the city of Miami consists of Wynwood, Liberty City, the Pork and Beans, what's the name? Virginia Key, Brickell, what else? What else? Y'all tell me. Not y'all tell me, but like I'm trying to remember the Overtown, like that's really pretty much city of Miami. Little Havana, that's pretty much city of Miami. Like city of Miami is still kind of big, because to me it's still bigger than like Atlanta, but it's not like Jacksonville. Like Jacksonville to me is big as fuck for a city, because Jacksonville is. Remember I told you earlier, Jacksonville is the biggest city in Florida, and it has 3 counties. I know it's people just think it's Duval, but it's Duval. I think it's Clayton County, and I think Nassau County. I think those are the 3, if I'm not mistaken, those are 3 counties that's Jacksonville. Like that's how big Jacksonville is. I gotta do my research next time. I'll clear it up. But these snowbirds, like I'm like, bro, like all right. So for example, my wife is. She in olden days she was considered a snowbird because she was born in New York, but she moved here when she was like 6, 7 years old. So she's 30, however, and my bad, she's 25, but whatever. She's been here from elementary school, middle school, high school, college. She's been in the state pretty much her whole life. So she's technically considered a snowbird because she was born in New York, but not really because she was pretty much raised here. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was raised here. She had that New York accent because, you know, they'll go to New York every summer or whatnot, or every so often. But these snowbirds, y'all gotta stop there. Like, it all started with Mad Dog Caruso. Shout out to him, but I hate when he said, like, oh, nobody don't come to the games, to the Dolphin games, to the Marlins games, to the Panthers games, to the Hurricanes games. I'm like, first of all, you know, if you was here when we had the Orange Bowl, when it was in the center of Dade County, everybody and their mama was there. They used to shut the whole city down because of, you know, the Orange Bowl. It was not even just for the Hurricanes. I mean, way back in the day, it was the Dolphins when they used to play over there. Then it was the Hurricanes, but also high school football. They used to shut the whole city down because that's where all the teams play. It don't matter what team you was. If you was one of the top 2 teams in the county or even in South Florida, if you was from Broward, well, no, back in the day, well, yeah, Broward too and Palm Beach, but back when I was like playing a little bit before, it was, I want to say, 4 stadiums that you had to play in. Trash Pile, which is by Miami-Dade North, the Orange Bowl, I want to say 5. So Trash Pile, the Orange Bowl, Hard Rock Stadium, where back then was Pro Player, FIU Stadium, and Lockhart Stadium that's up in Broward County. Well, it's not really done no more because that's what FAU used to play at, but they got their stadium up in Boca. Those was the 5 stadiums that you want to play at. Why? Because for one, they had a historic feeling. They had a college feeling. You know, 95% of the kids went to college, you know, whether it was D1 or D3 or, you know, even junior college. So they had a experience, a pre-experience, a college prep of how, you know, college is going to be. You know, maybe not the exact preparations, but they had in their mind, like, hey, this is the idea of how college is going to be. And it don't matter what stadium you was at, man, like, the whole city shut down. You get what I'm saying? The whole city shut down. And it's just crazy how, like, you know, you got these people. And at first I thought it was like the New York people, but the New York folk, but it's really the Boston people. Y'all don't know what y'all be talking about. So that's the Hurricanes, and then now the Hurricanes got to play in Hard Rock. Listen, people don't realize the University of Miami is in Coral Gables. That's in the South. That's like 20 minutes away from where I'm living at. That's like 30, 45 minutes away from the actual university. At least when it was in downtown Miami, it was probably maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, because Coral Gables is like a little bit closer to the city. It's south, but it's a little bit, it's closer to downtown. It's like 25 minutes out, 25 minutes out. You gotta take you can take Ladrone, you can take 27, you can take, there's different avenues you can take that gets you to the stadium. So Coral Gables wasn't that far. You can take US 1, get on 95, get off the exit to go to the stadium. It was many ways. Now they got to get on US 1. They got to either take 95, or if it's traffic on 95, they got to take the turnpike or 826 to go to the state. Like, it's, y'all just don't understand because y'all don't explore the whole counties. Y'all don't explore, like, there's things outside the actual cities that y'all live at. This is not New York. This is not Boston. No disrespect, but this is not like, you know, oh, I can just take a subway, or I can take the bus, or I can take the train, And I'm over here, at Yankee Stadium. I'm over here at Shea Stadium. I'm over here at the Garden. You know what I'm saying? Down here, spread out. Like, the Hard Rock itself is, if you a fan from Homestead, you got to drive an hour out. Because the Hard Rock Stadium is literally close to the county line. Like, it's basically in between Dade and Broward. Like, almost in between. But, like, Broward is like I said, it's like 2 minutes, 5 minutes, away from the line. Then you got Florida Panthers, they move to Sunrise. You from Homestead, that's another 30, 45 minutes out. You know what I'm saying? Depending if it's traffic or not. Then you got the Heat, you got the Marlins that stay in the center. Yeah, that's a bit closer. You from Homestead, but at the same time, it's like, damn, like, I got to go through downtown, Miami. I got to go through the city. I got to go through, all this stuff to get to the Heat game, get to the, the Marlins game. Like, it's a lot. People don't understand that. Like, our transportation is not A1 yet. It will be very, very soon, but it's not A1. And our snowbirds don't understand that we are spread out. Even when y'all talk stuff about LA is spread the freak out. I've been to LA. I'm like, damn, LA is like Miami, but 30 times bigger. You know what I'm saying? Because they have, like, LA to me is like if Miami, New York, Atlanta, Jacksonville, Chicago, Dallas, Texas had a baby. That's LA. LA is big as hell. Like, when I was asking people, like, where Dodger Stadium at, man? That shit about an hour away, boy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, so what, because, when I go to cities, they got, like, 2 teams and everything. Like, I'll be asking questions, like, I'm like, well, so where are the Angels at? I mean, they're like, technically, they not in LA. They in Anaheim. Anaheim, like, a different county. That shit about almost 2 hours out. It's kind of like, here. Like, you tell somebody you live in Florida City, like, man, and you a tourist, you like, man, I want to go to the Panthers game. They're like, shit, you got to drive almost 2 hours because it's you got to go to Broward County. You got to go. It's a whole different county. So it's like, that's when I say, like, LA and Miami, we could relate to each other because it's spread out. LA is a bit faster than this. It's way more faster than this. I tell people all the time, Miami is still the South. I'm going to New York in August, so this is my first time. But I've been to, like, DC. I've been to Baltimore, DC. So I can kind of see, like, the East Coast it's a bit fast, like they cities, is because their transportation is A1. Just like, for example, Atlanta. Atlanta's in the South, but Atlanta transportation is amazing. From the airport, from they got they got the metro rails and stuff like we do. They got the underground. I think they got the underground stations too as well. They whole system is on point. We're still developing because Dade County big as hell. Broward is big. Palm Beach is big. Like, it's big. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just focus on, for example, y'all don't understand how land-wise, how big Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach is. Think about it. You got the Everglades, right? I could go, like, for me, where I stay at, if I go maybe 20 minutes out, I'm like where the Everglades at. I'm literally like hitting the Everglades. But when you look on that side, it's a whole bunch of land and it's scary. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you literally outside, like you outside of nowhere, and that's a whole different vibe. Like, it's people that live out there. Like, you got the Indians out, like the Seminoles and all them, they stay out there. The Native Americans. It's a whole different world, out there. Like, east, when you go east, it's more cities, more homes. It's more like people out there. When you go far, far west, it's not even like farms out there. It's just land. You know what I'm saying? Like it's you have to really travel. You know, and it's just a shame. Like you got for example, right? I always thought Foxborough was Boston. Foxborough is Foxborough, right? So Boston folk, like, think about Boston, y'all, the city. Y'all like the major city in Massachusetts, right? New England Patriots, they in Foxborough. Foxborough, when I'm looking at on TV, I'm like, God damn, that shit country. That shit look like they in the fucking Everglades. That shit look like it's just the stadium and they surrounded by greenery and stuff. That's in South Florida. You have to understand, people, you know, people are not fortunate enough to live in the cities or live in the downtown areas or closer to the urban areas because the price is going up because of y'all. Y'all come down here, y'all be retired, or even the ones that's not retired, y'all work remote. Y'all come down here, y'all be retired. Oh, the rent could be $1,500. Oh, we'll pay y'all $3,000, $4,000. You know what that do? They make the rent go up. Oh, I'm 25 years old. I make $250,000. I work for Google. How much the rent is? $2,000. Shit, I could give you $5,000, $6,000 because you know I'm from New York and stuff. You know what I do? They raise the rent, or even the mortgages down here for the houses. Like, y'all don't understand what y'all do. But anyway, that's a whole different topic. But long story short, stop disrespecting, you know, my teams. You know, the Miami Heat, for example. People already be there. You know what people be doing? And this was my first time, like, witnessing this when I was, you know, in my master's program. Because I was taking a PR class, so, like, the professor that was our professor, he worked for the Heat for years. And he showed us, he said, listen, the fans be here already. They be in a club. So what the Miami Heat have, they have clubs. Like, they, you know, I like how the Dolphins, you know, Hard Rock, they have like club live and everything. The Heat have that. They have clubs. Like, they have actual clubs. They have restaurants. So it's like people probably be there since like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. But they enjoying themselves. You know, they vibing. Some people, you know, they just got to work and they want to eat. That's where they at. The people be at the games. It's just that our arenas, our stadiums are so high class that they know the teams, the sports teams. That's why I never want to diss the teams, like internally diss them, because at the end of the day, they do look out for us as the consumers. But it's just certain things that they do that's just, you know, mind blowing, and that's why we don't really support them like that. But overall, they look out for the fan base. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the Marlins, they got the Clevelanders, they got, you know, they own stuff going on. The Heat got their clubs and restaurants. You know, the Dolphins and the Panthers. To me, the Panthers got the best one. Like, they shit is like, it's amazing. But all major teams are amazing down here, man. It's just that you have different factors, and it's like, it's always us. It's always LA. Is always Atlanta. Is always Dallas, because they're like, it's not the Cowboys. They're not going to show up to a Mavericks game. They're not going to show up to a Dallas Star game or a Rangers game like that. You know, I'm like, man, y'all shut the hell up. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all got issues up there too. Boston might be a terrible team this year. Guess what? People barely going to be there. Watch. Y'all barely going to be there. It just is what it is. But, man, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'm back. I'm going to come out with another episode, hopefully tomorrow, if not next week. But the grind is back. But this has been your boy
DJ Anonymous.
DJ Anonymous for another episode of Sports Biz Music the Podcast, and I'm out. Be easy.